we believe the beauty sector is one of the next things for Botswana. Naturally, people do three things. People want to eat, people want to be healthy, and then they want to look good. It's the three, and we're saying this sector, we've always treated it as something that is done by people who have nothing else to do. We're saying, no, actually, it's the big sector. You know, when you wake up in the morning, the first thing that you do is like you brush your teeth, you apply makeup, you whatever. When you want to sell our diamonds, of course, we need the beauty sector to work. So I think for me, that's why we've been pushing to host the world, to show the world who we are, to have a little Milan in Botswana, so that we are showcasing the whole industry. And you asked about the partnerships, the kind of partnerships that we have. Look, I have to be honest, the partnerships have been coming fast. Recognition. I'm even surprised, there was one big brand that came to our office yesterday to present on how they can partner with us. Because we haven't signed anything yet, I wouldn't name them. But I think I'm seeing a lot more ministries come on board. But I think the only thing about opportunity is that you need to strike it when it's hot. And Botswana, we've been hot for the last 2 years as a destination. We've been hot as a destination, especially around pageantry. So that's why we wanted to host and take ourselves to the next level. I think for me, that would be a dream come true. That would be like probably the time that I will have a meeting with my partners, with the BCW, and ask them to say, look, I've done my bit and I would have transformed.
Welcome to Moving Humanity Forward podcast. My name is Kathy Malajani, and this morning we have an exciting guest in studio. I think if you are somebody who is patriotic, if you're somebody who is interested in the beauty industry, and you're certainly somebody who follows the trends, then you will know what we are talking about in just a bit. Now, this gentleman moved in on this organization called Miss Botswana a couple of years ago, and I want to believe his story is certainly the story that we try to tell here at Moving Humanity Forward. I've got in the studio with us Mr. Benjamin Raletsatsi. He is director of Miss Botswana as well as Miss World Botswana. Benjamin, I hope I got the titles right. A very good morning to you and welcome to Moving Humanity Forward.
Good morning, Kathy. Even though I prefer Ben, because I keep saying to people, and my mother will kill me if she hears this, Benjamin, anytime it was mentioned around, it meant trouble.
You knew you were in trouble.
you had to run. You had to run, or you had to find a place to hide. Thank you very much for having me. I believe you're from Ramotso?
Yes, I am.
Yeah, my wife is from Ramotso. So,
yeah, this village girl from Ramotso. And when you talk about the short version, so for me, Catherine wasn't cool enough. Yeah. It wasn't cool enough. So when I came to town, it's Kathy.
Kathy, yeah.
And hashtag Curious Kath is the moniker that I like to go by, because Ben, I have so very many questions. So let's start off with when you moved in and joined the brand that is Miss Botswana. And by the way, I love how fierce you are about protecting this brand. I think that's very important. So start off by just painting a picture of what it was when you moved in. I want to get the understanding of where you are now and what you're trying to do going forward.
Okay. No, thank you very much, Kathy, for that. And I think it's important for us to protect the brands that we represent. I think especially a brand like Miss Botswana, which I think it's synonymous with young women moving to the highest achievement level that you can think about. You think about Mpule, you think about now Lesego Chombo, you think about anybody who's been through the brand. That's what the brand is capable of doing. And I think that's why, even though for me it was an accidental
How did that get to happen, by the way? What background do you need to have? What course do you need to have studied to become a director of Miss World?
I'm a social worker by training, but a social worker who is basically interested in business, who does a lot of who believes you can move society, humanity forward. Also with business as part of what we're doing. So I think I'm also interested in low cost housing and land and issues of land. So when I approached the BCW 8 years ago, they are one of the biggest owners of land. So I approached them trying to say, can we partner on land? But every time we were sitting there talking about this thing, somebody would come either with a writ or with a complaint or try to take away their land. And the cause, Miss Botswana. So because I had met Miss Botswana as the executive director of the Botswana National Youth Council, I thought, this is easy peasy. I mean, I said to them, can I sort out this thing and then we can talk about
Hey,
the
let
land?
me sort out your problem and then give me the land.
Then we can talk about the land. 8 years down the line, I'm still in that journey, and the land discussion hasn't come forth.
Yeah.
So yeah, about 8 years ago, I approached BCW because of that, and when I picked up over the brand, it was in such a bad state, and because as a popular brand, there is so many things that are ongoing and moving parts, especially given that I think the understanding at the time, the focus was only on pageantry. And I'm happy that you introduced us as now we've tried to move the brand to the beauty industry, because when you talk just pageantry, then you don't take advantage of the business side. There's no business sense to it. When there's no business sense to it, I think the brand will then recoil and move into where people don't get paid, you don't fulfill your promises and whatever. So when I took over quickly, when I realized, the beauty industry, I went in, I researched, and I realized the value of the beauty industry. For me, it was the light bulb moment to say, wait a minute, as a country, beauty is not something that we do because we have nothing else to do. Beauty is our core business, and this is how I explained it 5 years ago when I don't know how I convinced the BCW, because when I went in, I then said to them, for me to solve this thing, it can't be a 1 year thing. It has to be a 5-year plan. Luckily, they agreed to a 5-year where we say, let's give us our 5 years where we are just going to rebuild. We're going to make a lot of mistakes, but we're going to rebuild. But I think the purpose where I said we talked about beauty is that as a country, maybe now we are seeing the struggle. As a country, one of the biggest commodities we sell is diamonds, and gem diamonds from Jwaneng. And that is why the Jwaneng mine is the most expensive mine in the world by value. For those gem diamonds to come from Jwaneng, for them to make any sense, they are concrete until they are put into rings, into watches, into whatever. So for us as a country, we need the beauty industry to work, for the country to work. That was one. Secondly, then I started to reflect back to say, but what else does Botswana sell? We seem to be just selling beauty. We have the most beautiful women in the world. I mean, that I can't even argue with that. I studied with my wife at home and my mother. I think we have the most beautiful women in the world. We have the diamonds, we have the delta, we have the elephants, we have everything. So anything about Botswana is about beauty. So once I started positioning it as such, I then started to say, look, for us as a country, we need this thing to work, because the more diamonds for us to sell more diamonds, the beauty industry needs to be working. So that was the first 5 years. Quite an interesting 5 years.
Oh, I want to know. Some of, it's often said that every cloud has a silver lining to it, right? And you're mentioning the fact that you kept trying to talk to Botswana Council of Women, BCW, about land, and this issue of Miss Botswana kept coming up, because there was a lot of controversy. Well, there's been quite a bit of controversy in the industry that is pageantry, and I'm glad that you were very clear about your vision of look, this is the what it is, but here's the industry, and definitely this is the business behind it, because technically that's the only way you're going to make it sustainable, is to put a business case to it and make it work. So I want to know how you dealt with some of that, because perception plays a large part in a lot of things, but at the same time you definitely have to overcome it. You have to have an end goal, you have to have a vision, right? So even whatever tunnels and darkness you're going through, you have to have the vision. So talk to me a little bit about the vision, talk to me a little bit about the challenges, and how you've overcome them, and just step forward.
Okay, so the first 5 years we penned it out in this way. We said the first year we're going to start rough.
So what year was that? Let's take
this is 2018.
Okay.
We said the second year, 2019, we will have a proper contest. We actually, I don't know what we were thinking. We said for the first time we were going to host Miss Botswana outside Gaborone because it
Okay.
had never been held outside Gaborone.
Yeah.
We said the third year we're going to make an impact at Miss World.
Mm-hmm.
The fourth year we're going to be in top 5. The fifth year we're going to win it.
Okay.
That was our 5-year plan up until 2022. First year was the roughest task that you can get. I mean, we had 3 competitors. I mean, I think that's the history of Miss Botswana, where we only had 3 competitors. On the eve of the competition, many of the girls pulled out. We decided to go ahead with the 3 that we had. Interesting year. Mitsepi Elias won. She went to China. The most financially devastating year that I think the fact that people in my family still stuck around after that because it was financially draining.
Wait, so you ended up having to inject your own personal
You
finances
had to.
into that?
We had to inject our own personal finances because right at the beginning we said we are not going to be caught with anything where anybody doesn't have their price. What we promise is what we give. And if you don't fulfill that,
Because that's a large part of the problem that we've had, where people are promised things and they don't get
they
them.
don't get them. So we right away, even a few years as back as 2019, we said we're going to fulfill that. But one of the things that we also do is that we became realistic about what we are promising, because sometimes you think the grandeur of the brand, you will have big sponsors. I think for me at one time that's what I thought, but you soon realize that that's not the truth. So the second year we got some bit of funding. We ended up in Pique, where Disappearing won.
This is where you are hosting it outside
town, and this is, remember we had said to say first year we do it, it's going to be rough.
Second year
we host it
out
of town, which we did, and then and then Fafa won. We went to London. We went there. We got to speak to Miss World. They were saying, look, Botswana is a country that we look at. We came back. It was 2020. COVID hit.
Yeah.
So that almost we shut down everything. And we were almost operating from home for that year. But we were not deterred. I think we had seen the glimpses of what it will take to with Botswana. Third year, that was the year that we said we were going to blow the world. The world is going to see who we are.
Yeah.
Lucky enough, we got Palesa. You know, sometimes when you dream it comes. We got Palesa. She blew the world apart. I mean, she got the most vote by a single individual at Miss World, but we only placed up to top 40. Interesting dress issue that happened at Miss World, but it was part of the learning. I keep saying, you guys are in the media. The only mistake you can make is the guy can record the wrong thing. When you're in the beauty industry, the only mistake that can happen is either a dress, makeup, or any of the things. It's natural because you go to Miss World, you carry about 60 garments.
What did happen with the dress?
What happened with the dress is that once Palesa wanted to put in there was a tear, and Miss World, you have to move. So she had to find a plan while she was on stage. So that's basically what happened. There was nothing to it. It was just one of those things. But what Palesa did is that she pushed the brand and made the brand, recognize and put it in the pedestal of everybody's lips.
Let me ask you this, because as a business person, you understand that. I don't know. I think especially when you talk Palesa, I don't know. There was some magic there. What did you have partnerships that made it happen? Was there sponsorships that happened? Like, what is it? Did she just have the charm that made everybody love? Because I think the entire nation rallied behind her, and I think that was the first time we'd seen that much. I don't know if I want to say support. What did you do? What magic beans did you feed her?
I think we can take credit all we want, but you have to give credit to Palesa.
Yeah.
She's an amazing young woman. She brought a fan base. She brought humility. She brought Mogolokwane, for example, as a Motswana, to the forefront. Yeah. She brought all the right elements, something that I think that's the credit. I think the luck that we did is that we discovered and we put Palesa forward. That was the biggest thing that we had to do. But it was still a big challenge financially. I mean,
wait, didn't I see you at a sponsorship? Were you not in with the diamond people at this point in time?
Not at that moment. I remember the night then Palesa was moving away, was going to Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
The night that she was leaving, we didn't have the money to buy her the ticket. At the time, you remember we were coming out of where everybody was still trying to
sluggish
figure out
after
sluggish
COVID-19.
after COVID. The first time Palesa left, I remember calling a friend of mine at 10 in the evening and saying, Mona, if you don't give me this money, Palesa's ticket is going to be cancelled in the morning. Fortunately,
so you again are sponsoring it through like your personal
friends.
This is your third year now.
This
in
is
a
my
row
third year.
that you are having to dig your own pockets.
You dig your own pockets.
And your friends.
And family, of course. Look, what would happen is that because of the history that we had, sometimes somebody will say, "Now I can only sponsor the finale and give you and pay the guy who's bringing the sound." But the way Miss Botswana is structured is that it's such an intense thing. For you to get to Miss World, you need about 30 or so, between 30 and 60 outfits. I think with Anisha, we went in with 80 outfits. 80 outfits, 125 kg of bags. She had 7 bags to carry to Miss World. So with Palesa, when the initial time that she went there, it was not as, but remember, she had to come back because of the cancellation that went at Miss World. The second time she came around, I think people started coming on board, especially with her tickets, support her parents and whatever, and we were able to garner in support because she presented such an amazing an experience for Botswana. So I think she is sort of like the person who ignited the whole thing. So 4th year, Lesego, remember we were said, if you counted our years, Lesego was 5th year because we had skipped. We're saying we're going to win Miss World. We're going to win Miss World. Lesego comes along, she has to exist.
I think a lot of people will arguably say that she did.
Yes. But what is interesting is that she had to first exist under the cloud of Palesa. She had big shoes to fill. Of course, she kept saying her shoe size is different, and then I think she was the most ready Miss Botswana that I've ever managed. She was ready to win the crowd. She had prepared 5 years for it. She'd been preparing. So we also went into Miss World ready because for the first time we did convince sponsors now to come on board.
So 2023 was the first year that you had like proper backing in terms of sponsorship.
Not at the beginning. I think with Lesego as well. Palesa reign ended. We were still struggling. We were still struggling to sign the final contracts. At the beginning, it was still shaky. But in the reign of Lesego, we got the necessary support. We got the necessary financial muscle. We went to Miss World ready. We had a ready queen. Bang, we went in. We thought we had won it.
I want you to name names. I want you to actually just give a shout out to the people who made it happen. Because those sponsors, I mean, I feel like it's a world of difference between, oh my God, how will you be paying tickets? And, okay, everything's sorted. Which, so I'm going to give you an opportunity to do that. This is Moving Humanity Forward podcast. That's how you find us on LinkedIn, on YouTube, as well as on TikTok. But on Facebook, it's MHF Podcast. We'll be right back.
We are a healthcare program consultancy company with a deep understanding of the unique challenges facing healthcare systems in low and middle-income countries across sub-Saharan Africa. Our mission is quite simple. We identify critical gaps in healthcare delivery and we design practical and sustainable programs to solve them. And it all boils down to our expertise and our hands-on experience in the global health space. And I deep believe that a healthcare system isn't just about clinics, hospitals, or governments. It includes everyone, from corporate organizations, business entities, community organizations, schools, families, and individuals. That is why our work spans from supporting national health departments or ministries of health to empowering communities with the tools and the knowledge they need to save lives and improve healthcare outcomes. Whether it's training healthcare providers to community members or strengthening emergency response systems and developing life-saving programs, we build sustainable and impactful solutions. We are healthcare system solutions.
Welcome back. This is Moving Humanity Forward podcast. And you know what? We'll cut the names short, but Ben, I would like you to give a shout out to the people that came on board and started making your life easier. Who are some of the first, in fact, who was the first sponsor to come on board and say, don't worry, I got you? Because actually, I feel like dressmakers, tailors, designers, they had long come on board for you guys. So at least that was, a little less of a worry for you. But who came on board and signed the first check to release the stress for you?
I think traditionally, and it continues to be, the Ministry of Youth has always played a big significant role, where especially when now where they started to take over, when the lady travels, they were the first one to jump on board, and they continue to do that.
In terms of expenses,
accommodation, not because remember, we pay the license, and when you're at Miss World, you don't need to worry about
accommodation
and other things. So expenses for flights, and then maybe the per diems and whatever, and part of the wardrobe. And the second time Palesa went, she was also supported.
Wait, who's supposed to go? Who's we? When you say we went, it's the team, right, at Miss Botswana?
Yeah.
Who else?
So with Miss World, the way we've done it, because it's such a high, it's intense for you. If you send somebody, you need to send them for a month, and they wouldn't be doing anything for a month. So for the first 3 weeks of any queen, they go alone, because they're competing there alone. They're competing with the rest of the world, and then we are there just the last 3 weeks. So at the last week, the last week of the competition.
Who's we?
It really differs. I mean, over the years, it just differs. The first year, it was the two of us from the organization, and the second year it was like about 3 or 4 of us. And then what happens, and which we've been lucky with, is that our international staff, Botswana in embassies, they also join, and we normally
because you want to have people rallying.
Normally we have we have a team of 20-30 people at any given location, except Puerto Rico, where we had it's like 4 of us. In India, we've seen 15 to 20 people come through to support Miss Botswana. So the first ones that came on board, like I said, was the ministry, and then the DBS, the Department of Broadcasting Services, did come on board as our broadcast partner. That's why exclusively we are giving them all our content. And then the first one that came on board but understood the vision, and it was very, very clear, was Lucara Botswana. And when they came on board for us, it was a game changer.
This is which year?
They came on board at sometime in the beginning of, just about before we crowned Lesego.
Okay, so just at the end of Palesa's reign.
Just at the end.
So Palesa did the magic for you, and
then Lucara came on board. But I think for me, what was interesting about Lucara was the understanding that we brought. Remember at the beginning I said, I talk about the beauty industry, I talk about diamonds, I talk about us being
and how you need to position yourselves to sell.
To sell. And I had a 20 minutes phone call with Lucara Botswana MD, and at the end of that phone call, she gave us a check. Because she understood, we understood each other, exactly what we represented and how we wanted to sell and position Botswana diamonds. Then all along, a lot of people have tagged along. Now we have VW, we have VW through the former Balwet NMI Motors, and then, but I can name a lot of our sponsors that came at the time. We had Botswana Tourism, we had at the time. Even when Palesa was going for the second round, even we have Okavango Diamonds sponsor her, and she went through New York. Oh, I guess you are remembering. But she was not wearing any diamonds at Miss World, but she went through New York to the diamond sales office to view our diamonds. So that journey has begun there. But then came Lesego.
So this is 2023 now.
Yeah, 2023.
And this is when all these sponsors are coming on board.
Yes. No, 2021 was when Palesa was reigning, and 2022, that's when now the sponsors started to trickle in. And then when Lesego was crowned in 2022, we were seeing a lot of we along the way we saw a lot of the support. The initial support was just to get us the event going. But the some of the final support came in the year that Lesego was reigning. Yeah.
Lesego reigned 22 to 23?
Yeah.
And that's where now you got the majority of your sponsorship.
Our sponsorship, yes.
And this is where now you...
you
Yeah.
could you could recover from 5 to 6 years of losses.
Yeah.
Yes. And we went to Miss World with Lesego, and I'm sure his history has it. We did fairly well. We took
We were Miss Africa, right?
we
Miss World
we
Africa,
went,
yeah.
yeah. We keep saying, and this is how we sell ourselves, is that in our writing is that in 2023 we are number 1 in Africa. We're number 4 in the world. You can't get it better than that. So that's how we sell ourselves. When you talk to us about anything else, we say we're number 1 in Africa, we're number 4 in the world. That should count for something. That is then when everything came on board. Lesego went to Miss World. We decided to take her with one of the most expensive diamonds that you can ever mention, called the Akbaka. It's 110 carats of diamonds that she was wearing, of Botswana diamonds, ridiculous price that we normally nowadays don't want to mention on air. And everything was happening. And I think for us, everything was happening, I think, and also at the organizational level, we had realized a year or two earlier that, running Miss Botswana as a temporary platform was a non-starter. That was where the problem was. So Miss Botswana, we then constituted an office. We have about 9 people between.
And we've hosted Brando here, who explained that at some point he was the general manager.
Yeah, he was the
of
general
that
manager
particular
of that
office.
particular
Yeah.
office. Yes,
Yeah.
Brando came when we are still really. You have to thank guys like Brando for coming on board and pushing the brand, because they came in when we were really, really struggling financially, and I think we have to thank guys like him because they stuck around and they got us to move to the next level. They did eventually say, you couldn't sustain some of the momentum, but at least they got us to the next level. So we then established a Miss Botswana office. There's a number of people, like about 11 people that work for the Miss Botswana office right now. We're very structured. We're very contractual. We
It's a business
it's
now.
a business. It's a fully fledged business.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, and here is something that I think Miss Botswana has always fulfilled, and I don't think we talk about it. When you win Miss Botswana, and it doesn't matter, you can go back to, at least in the years that I've been managing Miss Botswana, we took over your accommodation. We took over, we gave you you have an allowance. All your wardrobe is taken care of. All your transport is taken care of.
So this is when you need to be at an event and so forth. You're
No.
going to sort. Oh, this is every day.
Every day.
Oh.
Miss Botswana is a managed. You become a managed product. You right. Even up to right now, you have your own flat, which is sponsored by Miss Botswana. You get an allowance. At some time, you may think at some years it may not have been enough, but you get an allowance. You get all your transportation is taken care of. You have a chaperone, and this has been happening throughout the years that I've been in charge of Miss Botswana.
So when you win Miss Botswana, are you able to continue, say, your schooling or working elsewhere? Do you continue that, or do you take a gap at that point?
It will be a very difficult life balance.
Okay, so you pause and you full-time.
Many people pause because Lesego practiced as a lawyer for the first 3 months that she was Miss Botswana, but to create the balance because of the number of activities that you have to attend, the number of functions, the number of all the things that are going on, it's usually easier for somebody, and many of them pause and because it's full employment,
it's a full-time job,
full-time job for 1 year. So we also now introduced a team that does that. So
was that something intentional on your part?
It was intentional. Remember, we're saying we are in the business of beauty, and you cannot manage it as a part-time business. I keep saying to people, that diamonds are a $90 billion industry. 90 billion. Botswana is benefiting maybe 5-6 billion out of it. The beauty industry, just beauty and aesthetics, what you did this morning when I was watching you get makeup and the clothing and whatever, it's a $900 billion industry. So it's not it's something that I think if you took it as serious as we want to do and want to influence the national psyche to say, look, if we want to diversify our economy, because we have all the ingredients, beauty is where we need to place our bets. Then we will take ourselves forward. That's what we are preaching. That's what we are going everywhere about. So Lesego ended that. She was the almost like a transition because it was the 4th year naming it. We then went back to BCW and said, you know what? We've sort of taken a corner, but can we have another 3.5? And this is why we had a 3.
Why 3.5? Why not 5 again?
we called 3+1 for this reason, because we wanted 3 years where we are hosting Miss Botswana and we're doing it very well, like we are now. But we also wanted the +1 because we wanted it to be in 2026 where we wanted to host Miss World in Botswana.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're
So
still
that's
there?
that's
Are
one
you
of.
still there? Are you still saying 26, or are you going to say 27?
Unfortunately, I
or-
think we haven't managed to convince, because it's a very expensive undertaking. We haven't managed to convince everybody to think it's an undertaking that can be done. But we believe.
What do you think it'll take to convince everyone it'll be done?
I think we have to position beauty as a key strategic factor for Botswana, as a key economic factor for Botswana. If
This
we can do
economic
that,
diversification we've been speaking about.
yes,
Yeah.
and beauty for us is one of them. And we are very, very deliberate about, even when we go search for a Miss Botswana. When we go, right now we do a search for Miss Botswana throughout the entire country.
You do a tour.
We do a tour, and when we get into a village, we don't just look for the beautiful woman. Remember, we said beauty and it's all assets. When we get into a village, we look for the beautiful woman who can potentially be Miss Botswana. We look for the food, because we believe cuisine is part of. You can't talk beauty and not to cuisine. We look for the designer or whoever that is there that can design for Miss Botswana. We look for the traditional beauty products, because one of the targets that we set in the 3+1 strategy was that we were going to say 3+1, we host Miss World as +1, but we had also said Botswana naturally have beauty products that they use in their villages, in their communities. We set ourselves to say we are going to take one product, and in the next 3 years, we're going to make it a global product. So we search for the local beauty products. We search for the local art, that exists in the village. And then finally, we also search for the local tourism site that is within. If, for example, Koramos, where do you guys go if you want to have fun? So that's the positioning that you.
When did you start that strategy?
It was the 3+1 strategy, which started in 2023. Yeah.
20. So
it's 23, 24, 25, and then the 25 is 25, 26. Remember, again, our year overlap. The 26 is when we turn 60 as a country, and we wanted to host the world when we turn 60. That's our diamond jubilee. We are celebrating diamonds. We're giving everything diamonds. I mean, you look at what we did with Anisha. This past month went to Miss World, and she wore one of the most expensive Botswana made. A piece made out of Botswana diamond, 170 carats that she was wearing on her neck at Miss World. But that's the showcase that that's the preparation and the direction that we've always wanted to take as Miss Botswana. Yeah.
Okay, so you in terms of the achievements that you've made, you really sound like you're happy with them.
We are very happy.
How come the nation doesn't seem to be behind it? And in fact, I want to go back a little bit to, and I'm going to put this on your plate, because this was thrown in different directions, to say part of the magic that Palesa brought to the table was that she came in with natural hair. I just want to throw that at you, because you've mentioned the beauty industry. Do you think that there's any truth to that?
I think, for me, part of the natural hair was part of the big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is maybe part of the magic that she brought.
Maybe it's part of the magic, but Palesa brought the Palesa magic. You see, I'm a very lucky guy. I had the opportunity to be able to sit around Palesa. Remember, she still does a lot of work for Miss Botswana currently. One of the things that we haven't lost as Team Miss Botswana is that we are using all our Miss Botswana. Yeah, Palesa is our host in many of the activities. She does a lot of work for us, and all the other Miss Botswana, including even.
Yes, I've seen. I think Sabaha also taking part in the auditions.
Fafa, Wedis Apirian was the stylist for Anisha Hautus at the current Miss World. So part of the magic for me is the magic that Palesa just brings as a person. She's one of the most amazing young women you can meet. Most amazing brain. I mean, you just throw something at Palesa and ask her to explain it. She explains it in her own terms, and that's the magic of Palesa. I don't think it's just the hair; it was everything else that came with it. Yeah.
And then in terms of, I want to come back to something you mentioned, to say we're trying to sell the business that is Botswana, and we have so much to sell, right? So our music, our art, our food, and so forth. I wonder, in terms of partnerships in that area, what you have on the table. And I'm coming from a background of, I've been looking at our culture And I'm so fascinated because I think we have so much that we could sell. I want to know what partnerships you have, not just culture, but just across the board there. But this is Moving Humanity Forward podcast, and we will be right back. Do not go anywhere.
Life comes with surprises. Some good, some not so much.
But whatever happens, you can face it head on.
Assure Wealth gives you more than just insurance. We give you protection for every part of your life, your home, your car, even your travel.
We help businesses stay resilient with commercial covers from theft, fire, public liability, and group covers.
Got a team? We've got you covered too. Life cover, disability, funeral schemes, even income continuation.
Our type of funeral plan is just one way to ensure dignity and peace of mind.
Need cover for travel?
Done.
Aviation, agriculture, even political riots.
We've got you.
Professional indemnity?
Of course.
At Assure Wealth, we are not just brokers, we are your insurance partners for life.
Insurance that protects what matters. Insurance done right.
Welcome back. This is Moving Humanity Forward podcast, and I had just asked you, Ben, what partnerships you have ongoing. And in fact, just now I was saying, when's the next Miss World? And that's the one that you had wanted to host. You said, I don't think that's gonna happen. I want to know why. What can we do to rally behind you? I just think we need to dream a little bit bigger sometimes as a nation. What will it take? What can we do? Yeah, let's go there.
I think it's an expensive undertaking.
Yes.
But the returns are major.
Mm-hmm.
I think it takes us. I'm positive. Something like it will happen or closer because of the vision that we've set ourselves as a country. As to whether it will happen in 2026 like I would have wanted it to, I'm not sure about that, but I think it's something that I think we're working on. We're constantly going back and consulting the various parties, especially in government, to try and get that going.
So if government, comes on board, it'll happen.
It will happen.
So if all of us can rally our MPs and our, it will get some traction.
It will get going, and I think we will be super proud to do it because it will mean we are bringing 1.2 billion eyes on Botswana. It will mean we will determine our own part of our own diamond story. Remember, pageantry mostly appeals to women who are buyers, but we've also taken it beyond pageantry because we've sold it as a bigger the beauty sector, because we. Going forward, as you will take it, is that we believe the beauty sector is one of the next things for Botswana. Naturally, people do three things. People want to eat, people want to be healthy, and then they want to look good. It's the three, and we're saying this sector, we've always treated it as something that is done by people who have nothing else to do. We're saying no, actually. It's the big sector. When you wake up in the morning, the first thing that you do is like you brush your teeth, you apply makeup, you whatever. When you want to sell our diamonds, of course, we need the beauty sector to work. So I think for me, that's why we've been pushing to host the world, to show the world who we are, to have a little Milan in Botswana, so that we are showcasing the whole industry. And you asked about the partnerships, the kind of partnerships that we have. Look. I have to be honest, the partnership have been coming fast. Recognition. I'm even surprised, there was one big brand that came to our office yesterday to present on how they can partner with us. Because we haven't signed anything yet, I wouldn't name them. But I think I'm seeing a lot more ministries come on board. But I think the only thing about opportunity is that you need to strike it when it's hot. And Botswana, we've been hot for the last 2 years as a destination. We've been hot as a destination, especially around pageantry. So that's why we wanted to
To host,
to host
well.
and take ourselves to the next level. I think for me, that would be a dream come true. That would be like probably the time that I will have a meeting with my partners, with the BCW, and ask them to say, look, I've done my bit and I would have transformed.
So now let's talk about land.
Let's talk about land. Yeah. Nice that you remember, because that's where we need to go back to. Yes, yeah.
I want to close off with some of what because you said you maintained that relationship with especially the former Miss Botswanas. I want to know in terms of what then happens after the reign. So in terms of Anisha right now, how close is your relationship with her? Does she now, because I believe she's automatically your ambassador, right? Because she's alumni in a way.
Yes, yeah.
So what are some of the things that you have ongoing for them?
Yes. So we have a constant, sometimes, and this is, and Palesa will tell you, Lesego Chombo will tell you, everybody will tell you, is that Miss Botswana sometimes, because of the pressure that you are as a young person, that you are under as a young person, I feel sorry for Honorable Chombo. She went right back outside Miss Botswana, then she went to be a minister, and the pressure continued. But many of them want to take a back step for the few months so that they become themselves again, move away from the attention, being on yourself, where you can't even wear what you want, you can't even do what you want, you can't, because the whole nation is looking at you. But for us as an organization, and this is something that we've discussed actively with the BCW, is to say one of the resuscitating point for the BCW itself. Remember, it was run by older women who have set a solid foundation. As a part of the continuation was to bring all the alumni to be part of the Miss Botswana organization. So all the former Miss Botswanas will one way or the other form part of the organization, and this tradition we've continued throughout. And we're going to continue with Anisha. She has left, but she hasn't left. We're still in a relationship where we're still taking care of her and ensuring that we make the transition from being a Miss Botswana to being Anisha a smooth one. Yes.
Okay, and then in terms of prizes, you mentioned that you handed her prizes over to her. This is Anisha last month.
Yeah.
Talk to me about what those prizes were.
She got a vehicle. She got a number of sponsors that came her way.
As in brand endorsements?
Brand endorsement. She got support to her foundation that she's going to work on. So that she got, yes.
Okay, I don't know if you want to, because I'm here like let's rally behind you guys and make sure that 2026 gets to happen in terms of us hosting the Miss World right here in Botswana. I mean, you got great MCs right here, we can assist, So what can you just speak to the viewer? Can you speak to the government? Can you speak to the Botswana, the corporate citizen in this country, just to say we can do it? It's not too late. Or is it too late? Has it been awarded somewhere else already?
I'm not sure at the moment because we've gone cold ourselves. But I think for me, I would like to repeat what I said at the beginning, to say for Botswana, beauty is not something that we do because we have nothing else to do. It's our core business. And the 5 elements is that we've got the most beautiful women in the world. I mean, I start with my wife. We've got the most beautiful diamonds that we need them to be sitting on diamond rings and bling and whatever. So we need, we've got the makadi, we've got our elephants, we've got everything. So naturally, I say the beauty sector, which is a huge sector and is one of the biggest emerging sector. Even when the economies are down, people want to be beautiful. I think is the reason why we see what we do as part of the big core diversification drive that we need to use to take our country forward. That's why we want to host Miss World, and so that we can showcase ourselves, our culture. Because for me, as we want to host Miss World, we also want to showcase our culture, because we have a rich culture in many instances on how on how we conduct our wedding, on how anything else about us. So I say to corporates, Botswana, those that in corporates, that we are an excellent partner. We deliver on our promises. We Of course, like any other big brand, we'll have people challenge how we do things, but we are very responsive all the time. When there's anything that we need to respond to, we are very responsive because we believe, as a leader in what we are doing, we need to be responsive and lead the industry to ensure that we lead by example.
And where do we find you? How can we get a hold of you? How do we partner?
Miss Botswana is available, on all social media platforms. You can find us. We are very, very open to partnership. We're actually open to partnership to a point where we're open to using this platform that we have to take to the advantage of those that we are partnering with. So you will see us launch a number of artists. You will see us maybe even launch an album with some of the artists. You will see us launch clothing lines in partnership with some of the artists, because we believe only when we do that are we going to take the whole beauty sector forward. Yeah.
Well, here's me hoping it's not too late for us to be hosting Miss World right here in the beautiful BW. This has been an absolutely amazing episode of Moving Humanity Forward podcast. We'll see you next time.